Hi, everybody. This is Loren Baker, founder of Search Engine Journal. And with me today, I have Bibi the Link Builder. Hey, Bibi, how's it going?
Hi, it's Friday and I'm tired, but I really happy to see you, Lauren, because we've never seen each other face to
Yeah,
face.
we've never talked, only on Facebook or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's cool. Yeah, I realized I think I was during lockdown. I tuned into a couple of those was it like SEO pubs or whatever that was going on, all those meetups and stuff.
Yeah.
But never got a chance to talk in real life. So it's a pleasure to talk to you and to your pet chicken. What's your
Yeah.
hen's name?
Oh, I haven't given her a name. Do you want to give her a name?
Yeah, sure. That's good. I'm gonna call her Hilda.
Hilda the chicken. All right.
Hilda the
Hilda,
Hen.
is that okay? Yeah. She's happy.
So, yeah, what app are you using to do that, by the way?
It's Snap Camera. You can just download it for free, and you can use it in any video conferencing tool that you use. And just
Hmm.
instead of your normal camera feed, you select Snapcam, and then you can do yeah, lots of cool stuff. And you can become an anime character. Can I show you real quick?
Yes.
Let me see. Oh wait, now I get lost. Where am I? Oh, here. So I can become this kind of chicken. Hi,
That's ridiculous. It's just
this
ridiculous.
chicken. Hello.
You-
Oh, here, like a cartoon. Let me see. No, wait, not this one. Everybody's like, we're here for the links. We're not here to play with your toy.
Mhm. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cute, right? And the last one. This is also really cute.
Yeah, that's like ridiculously accurate.
Yeah. But my favorite one is still a chicken, so I'll put Hilda back on. Yeah, here she is.
Cool. Cool. So yeah, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, to finally talk. Just let's get started. If you could
Mm.
tell our audience a little bit about yourself, your
Yeah.
background, what you do from a link building perspective, and stuff like that, and how you got started a little bit too.
Yeah, so I'm Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands. I don't do a lot of Dutch link building though, because it's way more work than English. And I started as a social media marketer for a company that was selling trucks worldwide. They're called Klein Trucks. And they were really ahead in their digital marketing for that niche. But anyway, I was doing social media marketing and it was going really well. But then I wanted to make my own money and I Googled how to make money online. And that's how I found Authority Hacker and all those guys. And I started building affiliate sites. And I
Mm-hmm.
formed a little mastermind with a couple of friends of mine. And I was able to get a lot of visitors to the site, but I wasn't able to make a lot of money out of it because I didn't really understand how to monetize it. And then they asked
Uh,
me, yeah, it was stupid. I think I could do it now, but anyway. But then they asked me if I wanted to do their link building because they hated it and they were going to pay me good money. So I said, yeah. And then I had a business and I got on Facebook. I connected with a bunch of people. And for some reason, the leads just kept coming. So my business kind of exploded. And now, yeah.
I think everyone, I think, in the world of link building, I've done a lot of linking over the years and a lot of digital PR and stuff like that. And it's one of the things where, first of all, it seems like there's very few people that get link building, right? So many like SEOs, especially people that have started after the rise of the tools, the rise of the machines. So like everyone's like, oh, you have to get a DA of this, or you have to
Yeah.
get a DR of that, or you have to get a whatever this tool's metric is of this, and like, whoa, what that has nothing to do with anything really. Like it's good from a quality indicator, but there's no formula. If you get more links from DA sites of 60 plus, that's necessarily going to help you. It's just a vanity metric at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
There's things there, but it just seems that to me that a lot of linking is very metric driven and not necessarily, oh, what's the relevance of this site? What's the audience size of this site? What else did they do besides just putting a link on an article type thing?
Yeah, that's my philosophy as well. And I think it helps that I come from a social media background, because when you do social media marketing, you know it's not about broadcasting or about the amount of likes necessarily, but it's about, well, what eventually converts, right? So the engagement. And if you just focus on the metrics, you lose track of your why, which is actually getting people to your site that are going to convert. And that's where people, yeah, they lose track of the thing that matters. So they just look at DA, but then they don't realize, well, DA doesn't say anything about the quality of the audience, you know.
Right.
So
Or the
that's
author who's linking to you, right, in their
yeah,
background
yeah,
and everything else.
yeah. I do understand why they want to focus on metrics, because it makes things very straightforward and simple, and you don't have to deal with people that much. You can just build based on metrics alone. But yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it really works to just focus on that.
So, what type of link building do you do? How would you define kind of what you do at the end of the day, and what differentiates it from other types of link building out there? And then also, my understanding is that you work a lot with teams and training up teams, training up in-house as well. So, could you kind of go over that a little bit on that side?
Yeah. I'm not sure where I'm different than other link builders, because I don't really know exactly what they're doing. But what we do is that we focus a lot on content, so we're very content driven, and we do a lot of guest posts. So guest post sounds horrible because there's a very negative association with it, with spammy guest posters. But we guest post where we pitch to prospects as if we were writers. So we don't care about the link, when we're writing the outreach emails, but we care about the quality of content that we're pitching. And that means that we really do a deep
Right.
dive into prospects, and we offer something that helps them engage and sell to their audience. And that's where I think I'm different from a lot of link builders. Although I believe if somebody would just spend 10% more effort in that, focusing on the prospect, everybody would be able to get way better.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I get to see things from, well, a lot of people on blogs, but we get pitched a lot at SEJ. And I even get pitched on accounts where I don't even know what kind of site they're pitching me for, right? Like, but there's a certain formula out there. And I think, I've hosted webinars and stuff like that in the past with like link builders. Or like, you have to reach out to this many tens of thousands in order to get this much of a response. And, and I'm like, whoa, like, what if we just reached out to people that are likely to respond because we take the time to actually build a relationship with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same I do with my clients as well as I do with prospects. I filter them out before I reach out to them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I look at their site. Do they have right for us? Then I don't go for them, because they get approached by every other link builder out there. And in my subject line, I usually do make clear that I'm pitching something. So the
Right.
people that aren't interested, they're not going to open the email, and it's totally fine. I get maybe a lower response rate, but the people that do respond, they're already interested and they know what they're in for.
Well, it's funny too, because, there's PR, right? And then there's
Yeah.
link building. And sometimes they get grouped within the world of SEO, but they're quite different at the end of the day. And most PR agencies that I work with, and, my company, we do quite a bit of PR and stuff like that too. When they're reaching out to journalists, they're very like, hey, I'm reaching out to you on behalf of my client. We have this thing that's coming up. I'd like to pitch you on this, or how would this work within your editorial calendar or something like that. And then I look at the pitches that I get from SEO link builders, and it's like, whoa, I read your blog, best blog ever. Like this one post on your blog link, amazing.
Like, I stumbled. Oh no, I stumbled on your blog by
Yeah,
accident.
best blog post I've ever read in my life.
Yeah.
However, if you were to add this link, it would make it even better than anything else. And it's like, what? Like, what? Like you can tell,
Yeah.
like it's just, someone put together a merge email with all the different fields in there, and they're just shooting it out based upon, like, they're doing the same thing that everyone's doing and linking. And just the ability, when I get pitched with someone, I mean, you get a lot of things now where it's like somebody, like, they'll shoot a quick video, right? 5 second
Yeah.
video. hi Loren at Search Engine Journal. Like, I just wanted to tell you about this thing that we're launching. And a lot of the time, it's not the greatest thing that we really want to link to at the end of the day or cover, but at least I took the time to do it. I know a lot of it's automated and stuff
Yes.
like that, but at least it's different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
besides like being transparent in terms of like, hey, we are actually pitching you,
Yeah.
what else have you found kind of cuts through the noise with bloggers or journalists or anything
Yeah.
along those lines?
So the formula thing, it used to work well, right? So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna pull on that, but it doesn't really work anymore. But what does work though is you can use a template, so you can use something that you use over and over again, but then you have to segment your prospect list way more narrow than you usually would do. So
Right.
instead of reaching out to digital marketing sites, you should reach out to sites that only talk about mobile apps or something, right? And then when you've done that, you really research the niche. You see what their pain points are, what their use cases are, what the trends are, and you theme your template accordingly. So in your subject line, you mention something about the industry. In your intro, you talk about, how developers deal with clients when they're developing mobile apps, and that's the way you make an instant connection with someone. So by segmenting the prospect lists and then theming your templates, um, it works way better.
Now, you may have a school of thought saying, hey, you know what? I don't have time for that, or I don't want like 2 links, I want 100 links. But at the
Yeah,
same time, if you take the time to develop that relationship, right, and they're covering
yeah,
you once, chances are they're going to cover you again. So, is there
true.
like a compound benefit to spending the time to building that relationship, or do you rather
Yeah,
just shoot
so
everything at the wall and see what sticks?
I guess a little bit of both, but we
Hmm.
do have sites that you have to have a good team behind you, not just the people that do the data analysis and all that stuff, but I hire copywriters. So
Right.
there's I don't hire link builders, I hire copywriters. So they're already all like content heroes. And what was your question now? I forgot.
Um, I guess it was kind of a statement question.
Yeah.
So, do you find more value in taking the time to build that relationship with the publisher as
Yeah.
opposed to trying to hit multiple publishers at once?
Yeah, it's you have to find a balance, you have to do things at a certain scale, but the more you scale, the more generic your campaigns get, the lower your conversion gets. So then you need to
Hmm.
scale more because your conversion gets lower. And yeah, then you have automated it all, but then
Right.
all your emails are hitting such a high number that you're hitting the spam filter. So you have to have a
Yeah.
whole separate system to take care of that. And I have a friend who does that. He sends like hundreds of thousands of emails and it works for him, but he likes having the system, all
Right.
those robots and stuff. And he lives fine with that, but that's just not my style. But I
Maybe the
think,
predictability. I know
yeah,
numbers
yeah,
people like the predictability component.
yeah, he loves crunching it and he doesn't care about burning all those email addresses and having all the systems in place. Um, so everybody has to find their own balance, but sometimes they do forget. They think that scaling is everything,
Hmm.
but conversion is another thing. If you write bespoke emails where you spend a lot of time writing a unique email for a specific person, then your conversion rate is so high that you probably only need to send 10 emails a day, to get those 100 links at some point.
So
So
when
yeah.
you're sending those emails, are you usually targeting, say, the marketing person at a company, one of the bloggers at the company? I know, like, I'll have like a CEO forward an email from someone saying, "Oh wow, look, this company reached out to us about doing a guest blog. Should we do this?" Sometimes that can be like the
Yeah.
most impactful, right? Because it's the person that owns the company or slash runs the company
Yeah.
asking, like, excited about something, right? So like, how do you
Yeah.
typically target the prospect in terms of where they are at the company or publication that you're targeting?
Yeah, so I do a max of 3 email addresses if we can find them. And the first priority is the editor in chief, and then there's a marketing manager, and then there's a CEO. And then if we
Mhm.
can't find any of those emails, it could be a contact form or just a generic email.
Right.
Because I've gotten links through support. It's not great, but they do
Hmm.
sometimes forward things. And and sometimes there's somebody at the help desk and they really like your email and they start talking to you and you go back and forth and then they forward it, so you never
Mm.
know how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes I also think about, I heard one time, I used to work as a truck trader, right? And every sales guy had his own region of the world. So if one guy was specialized in Russia, the other one was specialized in Venezuela. And the guy from the Nigerian area, he told me that Nigerians, you got to talk to the to the nephew of the boss because he'll get you the deal. But you can't talk directly, but you have to talk through somebody else. So that you don't always have to talk to the big person directly or the best person. But it's
Mhm.
preferable if you have 3 emails and then kind of work your way through it.
Nice, nice. Oh, just as a reminder to all viewers and listeners, today's episode of the Search Engine Journal Show is brought to you by Ahrefs and
Yay!
Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. So if you go to ahrefs.com/WMT, and we'll be sharing this a little bit later with more information about Ahrefs Webmaster Tools, but it's ahrefs.com/AWT. You can give Webmaster Tools by Ahrefs a spin for free. Really robust information, really robust backlink information, broken backlinks, which is one of my favorite components of Ahrefs, and just an overall, like some of the data that they provide through their free tool set is some of the more robust you can find even from companies that you have to pay. So check them out. You don't need a credit card to check out the Webmaster Tools from Ahrefs for free. You can just go sign up, find out your site information. And I love the broken links tool there. Like I find so many like old campaigns where people like had done like podcasting tours or been covered by the press, and then like they go through a site migration and all those target locations are broken, and I just like download the Ahrefs report,
Oh,
send it
I
over.
gotta hit you up about it because I've never done a broken link campaign.
Oh, I love it. That's
Yeah,
some of
I'm
the
going
stuff I do
definitely
the
asking for
most.
advice. I do have
Yeah.
another thing that I really like now is creating statistics pieces. But then
Hmm.
I just borrow them. I'm very lazy, so I have a writer research and then compile them all in one thing. And then journalists they make a story and they use it as a background and they link to it.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I've done it for a client now a couple of times. I think I've done 10 or something, and 5 are picking up passive links continually. The other
Yeah.
5 are dead, by the way. They don't work at all.
Hey, 50% is better than 10% success. So like
Yeah, that's all.
some of the most successful campaigns I've ever done on the client side is where we'll just basically run a simple survey question every month, right? Like I had a client that was in the educational space for it's like class notes for college students or whatever. And so like we just run a question every month. Do you feel safe going back to school with COVID? Right? Yes, no.
Oh,
And
great.
suddenly like, 85% of college students say they do not feel safe going back to school. And then we just put it out there. It's all based on the client side, all the data and information. And most journalists for a study do tend to link back. And then the ones that don't, you just email them afterwards, thanking them and asking for a link. But just like the study and the survey stuff is some of the most impactful I've seen on the linking side. Do you feel that clients or sites need to have that kind of content on the site that's linkable, or are you good enough like getting links back to money pages and home pages and stuff like that?
Ideally, yes, because I do think it's good to do all sorts of link building to your site because
Mhm.
you never know, what's gonna stick or what's gonna work the best. But also, you get a very varied backlink profile. So
Yeah.
if Google at some point decides, oh, I don't like these statistic links or whatever, then you have a bunch of other links that work well for you.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Could you go a little bit into the training side? You had said that you worked mostly with copywriters
Yeah.
that you found success with on the linking side, which is cool. It makes perfect sense. Um, when you're training like in-house teams or even agency teams or consultants, in-house, do you talk to them about hiring copywriters, about identifying people at their company that would be useful for link building? Like, how does that typically work on that side?
Yeah, so it's been so different for every agency. Um, I did for my first agency client. I recruited the hire as well, and fortunately, there was a huge success. They really loved her, and they kept her in the company. And now she's the head of SEO or something. So she's not a link builder anymore. So I'm link building again for that client. But for other companies, they already have people in house, and they usually have. The funny thing is that they usually have everything they already need as far as skills go, because a lot of times
Right.
these people are already pretty good, but they don't have the time, or they don't have they need somebody to step aside and pull them out of the corporate box, because like you say, they're all following the same formula. So
Right.
when they write an email, I have to go, this is too link buildery, this is too link buildery, or this is too sales copy, or you're trying to convince a person. Don't try to convince them, don't pressure them, don't beg, don't lie. People are still saying, oh, I think this article would be good for your site. And I'm like, that's an empty statement. Why do you think it's good for them? So
Mhm.
many people aren't giving any arguments, or they're doing the fake flattery thing where they say, oh, I stumbled across your site and I've been reading all your blogs and all those things. It's just nobody's falling for that anymore, unless they want money, of course. Then they go like, "Yeah, sure."
Oh
Now give
yeah. What percentage of pitches do you typically get a response with publishers asking for some kind of money or gift card or something along something along those lines?
there
Bitcoin.
is, yeah, they're always in there, of course. But when you change your approach a little bit, you get less. But I don't
Hmm.
know what percentage it is. It's so funny. It's almost like every campaign is a unicorn, and I find it really hard to track, what the
It
percentage
is.
replies are. I thought it would be really easy to track everything, but in the end, it's really hard. But they're in there. Don't be surprised if you get those paid responses back. But if you get a lot of them back, yeah, start tweaking your campaigns for sure.
Hmm. I did a campaign about a year and a half ago, and basically it was I don't know if there's a word for this. It was like a moving on up campaign with listicles. So like basically there was a lot of listicles out there, top 10, top 15, top 20, that had our client at like number 17, number 11, number
Oh,
16, right? So the idea was we got it moved up to like a number one or number two position on one of them, and just started seeing like not just like the links are good, but we started seeing traffic and revenue come up from that, right?
wow,
Because
that's
like
great.
if you notice anything about Google in the past year, suddenly Google has become a listicle search engine and not a site search engine. So you search for anything, and it's like best 10 of this, best 12 of that, best 15 of that, like in every
Yeah,
single Google result now. It's ridiculous. So, but we're like, hey, you know what? If they're not going to list affiliate links and they're going to list natural ones there, which most sites do list affiliate links now. So Google's becoming an affiliate listicle search engine. But if they're listing natural links and are in there or we're trying to get in the list, why not ask to be in the top three, right?
yeah,
So I was amazed by just sending an email and asking, right? And I was expecting these authors to get back to me, yeah, just send me a gift card, just like, just here's my Dogecoin address, right? Send me some
yeah,
Dogecoin or something like that. But no, like many of them just moved it up. Like, oh yeah, that's great. Oh, I checked the site out again. You're right. It does belong to the top three. I was like, whoa, wow. And just like taking the time to ask for something is so like it can be so underrated in the world of
yeah,
outreach and link building. Like ask a favor or ask something, like not just the whole, hey, will you link to this? Will you do this? Will you do this? Just something different, right? Out of the box. It gets kind of
yeah.
people thinking. And I was surprised through that. I'm sure, have you run into any scenarios where you just kind of ask something that you always think the answer is going to be no, and they get back to you with a yes?
Yeah, I've had a couple of times where they didn't add the link, or they removed the link. And in the
Hmm.
beginning, I thought, "Oh no, we lost the link," panic. And then I thought, I already lost the link, so why not ask for them to put it back? And it almost always works. So I think that's something that people definitely shouldn't be afraid to ask when somebody removes the
Yeah.
link, because
Yeah.
yeah, you know
Also,
what's going
also,
on.
also on the like the link request, like when you have an unlinked mention and just like
Yeah,
I always tell people, look, if you have an unlinked mention, the authors read about you. There's a reason why they included you in there. They probably didn't link because of some editorial rules internally where they're supposed to link to like only public companies or only companies they've talked about. But if you just email and you just ask for it, right? Thank you so much for covering us. Really appreciate it. This is amazing. Just wanted to see if you could like link back, or you could link to this this follow-up post that we did that like has a little bit more data or information. And the response is usually very positive, and it's positive in two ways. One, they might write back saying, "Yeah, we linked to you," right? Or two, they might write back and saying, "I can't necessarily do that, but thank you for writing me," right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly now, right, you have that trusted relationship, or not trusted, but you have some sort of a relationship.
Yeah.
Because you reached out to the individual, they've written about your client or your company once, they're probably going to do it again. Don't burn bridges being mad because they didn't link to you, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, ego is the worst thing to have you lead in link building. You should leave your ego at the door. I mean, don't be a doormat, but don't get pissy if somebody doesn't do the thing that you wanted, because you don't know what's going on in their life or in their work or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And don't like hit them up every 3 days with a response email, right?
Yeah, I think
That's the
people are
worst.
afraid. People also don't like link building because they don't like the rejection, because you're putting yourself out there, and they don't like to get rejected or negative replies or something.
I love rejection. It's like in my comfort zone. I don't mind it at all.
I don't get negative responses often, but when I get them, I don't know. I'm always amused by them because
Yeah,
people.
I've seen you share some on Facebook and stuff like that. It usually is amusing.
Yeah,
Some of the pitches I'll share from time to time. Usually not a rejection. But we have some questions. So
oh yeah,
before today's episode, we reached out to a lot of different SEJ readers and fans and stuff like that, asking for questions to go over today. But before we get started, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Ahrefs and Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. So if you are an SEO, you might already know about Ahrefs Site Audit, which can help scan your site for SEO issues. And then, of course, Ahrefs Site Explorer, which gives you data on backlinks and keyword rankings. But you may not have known that both tools are now available at no cost for your own website in the newly released Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. It's a completely free tool that allows you to analyze your site's SEO performance and helps you identify issues that can be holding your website back to getting more search traffic. You don't even need a credit card to sign up. It's one of the coolest tools out there is. Just go to ahrefs.com. That's ahrefs.com/AWT to give Ahrefs Webmaster Tools a spin for free. All about rhyming. I love Ahrefs. They're great people. They sent me this shirt as well.
yeah.
I'm really happy about. They sent you the chicken. They sent you that chicken.
Yeah.
So I love them. They're good at marketing at the end of the day too.
I really love Ahrefs for their content, because they really write great tutorials. They make great videos.
Yeah,
but I also love them for the reverse engineering of content that's already successful. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but you have the Content Explorer, and there you can see it's kind of like what's that other tool, BuzzSumo or something? Yeah, where you can see which content did really well. But you can, if you put a topic in, you can filter it on social shares, and then you can see, for instance, what was repinned a lot on Pinterest. This is what I used to do. And Pinterest is kind of like a library for blog posts. And you can see which ones work really well. So if you filter it on 10,000 or 100,000 repins, depending on the niche, you get all these Pinterest posts that did so well. And it's for every niche almost a great way to reverse engineer. And another thing is when you take certain breadcrumbs. So when you go into the Content Explorer and you type in how many, so it's not a specific topic, but it's a word that surrounds a lot of these data studies and statistics and surveys. So you do how many, and then you filter on referring domains. You can see the statistics that got a lot of links. in Ahrefs.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's not depending on what niche it is. You just get inspiration. I found this site that way that's how many people are in space right now.com. It's just a one
Right.
page. When you click on it, you just see the number of people that are in space. There are now 10 people in space. And it has about, I think, 3,000 links or something.
I love those sites. I
Yeah,
love those sites. Like, wait, it's a really cool URL, and you click on it, like just the answer is like no or something like that,
yeah. Is it
or whatever.
Christmas.com?
Yeah,
No.
is it Christmas? No, and then it's like says yes one day,
I
and
had an
as
idea. Can I tell you my idea that I had for
mm-hmm,
that? But I'm not going to do it. So I hope somebody else does it. I wanted to do a dogs versus cats thing. And
mm-hmm,
people could just vote whether they like dog or cats. And then every time you could see who's winning the battle, right? So you could see the numbers. But
right,
people are also creating the content themselves because every time you vote, you're continuing the battle. And then you can
yes,
check. Yeah, every month you can see if the cats won or the dogs won.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like
I
that,
like it too.
and it's
Maybe
just
I'll.
so simple, and it makes sense to everybody out there. So I like those ideas a lot. So, how many questions do we have here? We have
A
quite a
lot.
bit. Oh my god. Okay. And we have one question that I'm not even sure what this language is. And I'm pretty
Dutch?
good at languages. So I don't know. Is it Dutch?
You
I don't
try to
think
read it.
it's
Read it in the way you think it's supposed to sound.
no.
No.
But there is a Google Translate thing here. No, it's just
Okay.
avvinci possibilità sa realizam impruna. It's some it's either it's Italian or some
Oh, right.
different form of Latin based, but it's
I
I'm doing
think that.
completely wrong. Okay, so let's go. So we talked about how people get overrun with requests.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's look at this. Okay, case study style example. An e-commerce site, they sell furniture, right?
Right.
They're not sure where to get started from a link building strategy. Let's say they sell office furniture or maybe home office furniture. So where would you get started? Someone comes to you, they're like, Bibi, we
Yeah.
need links. We have all this furniture to sell. We need links. What can we do? Any ideas?
Yeah. So there are a couple of routes that you can go. I would definitely research your audience and see what's living there. What's current with home offices and all those things. But you can also look at businesses that are in the same customer journey or that target the same audience. So you could reach out to companies that deliver computers for home offices or apps for home offices, and that way you reach out to prospects that other link builders aren't reaching out to, and you can get unpaid links. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something I would do. The other, if you look at statistics, I would definitely create some content about home office or about something else that's related. Maybe something about back pain or about stress or burnout
Yeah.
or parenting, even, because it's related to everybody's being at home with their kids. And that's another angle to get links for. So, yeah, I would try that. But I would definitely make my life more easy and create more content on the site. And a
Yeah.
lot of e-commerce sites do that now, so I don't think it's a problem. But look at other businesses because they can give you great links for free, and you can build up some sort of relationship. So that could always uh, be of more value later on.
I liked what you just also talked about different themes, and I can tell in my head that you're thinking about different types of blogs or different types of applications, right? So you're thinking
Yeah,
about the parenting at home. Well, there's so many different parenting sites out there, right? You're thinking about back health and stuff like that. It's
yeah,
perfect for maybe a
chiropractors.
health site. Yeah, exactly. Even like entrepreneur oriented sites, things like that. Like what are the main issues that people have that are workaholics, right? And just like going through all of those styles of injuries related to working from your desk too often. Just getting it like, what's the history of lumbar support for your back? Why is it
Yeah.
important? Like all of those different things, right? Even, that like, I see this a lot. It's like early man, primates, Neanderthal, and they're like over time, they're
Oh
like
yeah,
hunched
yeah, yeah.
over and they're getting stiff again. And then like it goes like to the 2000s and they're starting to get hunched over. Like all of those little graphics and just like doing out your own and having it on the site. You never know, people may really link to that graphic as well.
Oh,
But
that's a
yeah.
really good topic. People should follow Stacey McNaught because she is the queen of image link building. You should
Ooh.
invite her for the show. And I'm now following her course on image link building, and we're making some images for clients that are open to experimentation. It's not a shortcut. Just like any other method, there's a lot of research involved, but it's so interesting because you can get links from really big publications, and they have policies where they have to link out, to where this image is
That's
coming
a
from.
plus.
So, yeah.
That's a plus. For one client I work with a lot of beauty schools, and we were doing like infographics for a long time and stuff like that.
My first client was a beauty school niche.
I love beauty schools.
Yeah. Good niche.
And they're cool. Like, so anyway, I kind of stopped doing that. I'm like, do beauty schools really need do you guys really need infographics on your site? Your beauty school? That's like, it's cool to talk about beauty from a data perspective, but why don't we just like put together some really simple tutorials on how to do like an ombre hair dye, or how to do this, or how to like different eyelash extension tips, and like hire a photographer and hire a model. And it doesn't cost that much to do, and put this like together some really, really, really top-notch content. And I haven't revisited a lot of that stuff in the past year. And I was going through it the other day and pulling the data, and the amount of links that they've acquired, not from an outreach perspective, but from people finding those images and linking to them, is outstanding. Also, you kind of brought this up a little bit earlier. Pinterest is the most overlooked and underrated search engine there is.
Dude.
Pinterest is the bomb, like in certain types of industries. Yeah.
And it's a traffic machine.
It's a traffic. Yep.
Turn on and just keeps going. Because your content gets regurgitated throughout Pinterest. So everybody's repinning it, and then everybody they know is repinning it. So at some point you don't need to do anything anymore. The traffic just keeps coming. I got like, I think I was like almost 100,000 a month in traffic from
really
Pinterest when I had an affiliate site.
It's
I didn't
amazing.
know how to make money. So yeah.
It's amazing. And it's just like, for some reason, it's always grouped within social media. So I don't think as SEOs, we always have like Pinterest as top of mind, but it's not social media. It's a visual search engine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it drives traffic directly to the site, which most social media networks do not do at all.
And Google doesn't even come into play.
No,
it goes around Google. They do have their own updates. So they have banned a lot of accounts around essential oil content. So you have to be a little bit careful about what you do on there. The other thing I really find interesting about Pinterest is that I think they have a lot of sophisticated image recognition software behind it, because they have to recognize, they don't just judge the article by the title that's in the pin, but also by the image. So if you talk about chairs, you should use a chair as an image, because Pinterest will rank you higher. And sometimes people also use chair and then they write the word chair in the image, because then it will even rank more higher. So I found it interesting.
It is really interesting. One of my big tips for every year is like, what should you do this year focusing on SEO? My big tip is to throw stock imagery out the window and start hiring photographers. Because I think Google has this figured out 100% too. With the way that Google clusters similar images and image search results and things like that. I think at the end of the day, we're going to run into stock imagery being one of the most detrimental forms of duplicate content out there. And people are going to start to see things. It's going to start losing traffic because of stock imagery and not taking the time to put together their own images and stuff like that. And it also differentiates you from the group. Do you want to be one of 1,000 different sites utilizing these images that anyone can access, or do you want to do something special on your own? So
Yeah, that's
that's
a
going to be
really
my, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if there's anything to that, but I'm usually right. So we'll see. Um,
So modest, so humble.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay. No data behind it. It's just a instinct. Next.
if you say you're usually right, you're probably right a
Yes, there
couple
you
of
go.
times
There you
at
go.
least.
I'm also projecting this positively, so it's going to
Law of
happen.
attraction of rightness.
Okay, the next question comes from Cedric from Marty's Gymnastics Club. Cedric asks, how does Google identify if a backlink is paid or not? Is a backlink acceptable if the exchange they give with another site owner would be for a free trial or free use of the services? Does Google find out about backlinks through their algorithm or mostly from people telling on you from user submitted posts? So first of all, how can Google identify that the link that you have pointing to you is paid, or how can they identify that the publishers pointing to you accept paid links?
Right. Well, of course you have the tag sponsored. That if it's a paid post, but I think he means when you don't use the tag when it's not
Right.
labeled as sponsored. Um, I don't know if they can identify if it's paid, but I do see patterns with specific publishers or specific link buyers. And as soon as your pattern, becomes too sharp and too clear, that's to me that's a risk where you have to think about whether you can take it or not. But I don't know how Google identifies that this individual backlink is paid. I think it's more by association with other
Mhm.
links or other link buyers. I know what you think about that.
What kind of patterns do you usually see? What pops up to you as a red flag?
So I look at outgoing links where they're linking out
Mhm.
to. If it's a lot of commercial pages, they're probably accepting money. I also look at their content, if it's actual real content or every article has some kind of promotion in it or
Yeah.
some commercial aspect. Um, and of course they might have a media kit, but that would be really obvious. You just start recognizing it at some point, that that they're only there for selling links. And this is also why I advise for the furniture company to look for other businesses, because another
Mhm.
business isn't interested in monetizing with their content necessarily. They're more interested in selling their products or services. Whereas if you reach out to a site that's ranking on a specific keyword and they have content and that's all they do, then they're making their money with advertising or maybe selling links. So I would avoid those content only sites, except if they're really established brands or really good sites or it's somebody who's very passionate about something.
So when you said reach out to other businesses, you mean that reach out to other similar businesses like e-commerce oriented businesses or brick and mortar
No,
businesses that may reach the same audience?
yeah. So that's thing, yeah. So other but it could also be apps or SaaS or
Mhm.
consultants or something else. Not just other e-commerce businesses, but either they
Right.
have the same audience or they're in or your audience is in a similar customer journey. So maybe people that are interested in gardening are also interested in chickens, or
Mhm.
there's a correlation. So if you have, it's a little bit stereotypical, but cybersecurity experts, they might be interested in gaming, right? So you might reach out to gaming sites. But that's where the relevancy gets a little bit stretched. So you have to make sure that
Right.
your article is relevant to your target page.
Do you ever match clients together? Like if they're in similar markets, but they don't compete, do you ever match them
Yeah.
together? How does that
If
typically work out for you?
if they're open to it, I might match them. I'm a little bit careful because I don't want to create some unnatural network or show a very clear footprint. But sometimes it just makes sense,
Yeah.
one site is about silver coins and the other one is about antique jewelry, and to me that's very related to each other. So why not, help each other out?
Yeah, yeah, they're still attracting the same target market at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? So they're not competing. Maybe they're competing over that dollar, but they're not
yeah,
competing in terms of like one's a so like yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I like that. Yeah, there are a lot of different, typically I'll go through some of the most recent posts on a site and see if there's any awkward links that shouldn't be in there.
Awkward links. That's a good term.
Yeah, just like,
Foolish,
I
awkward, yeah.
so like the beauty schools that I work with, we've established their blogs to be kind of like publications in their own right. And I'll get links from time to time where it's like, oh, we'd like to contribute a post to your site about I don't know, about different lip styles that you can do to make your lip look bigger or whatever. And then like I'll look at the post and I'll see that it has a link to like a Wikipedia entry on like lips, and then like a link to like a Cosmopolitan magazine piece on lips. And then I'll have like a link to like a plastic surgeon about lip implants. And I'll just write back, oh, this one actually, this specific example came from someone saying that they're a student, they're a journalist student, and they want to get into freelance writing and they want to build out their own network, right? Yeah, I'm like, oh, I've heard that one before. So, and I'm like, well, there's this one link to this plastic surgeon in here. We might have to take that out. And they'll reply back, oh, no, you shouldn't do that because this is, I put together a lot of time researching this content. I'm like, well, are you building links for this plastic surgeon? Like, you can tell me. It's totally fine. You can just tell me. Oh, no. So then I went back to that author's like profile. I did a Google search for like articles that were either contributed by that author or like inbound links to that plastic surgery site. And there was so many, and I just went back and forth, and she kept on denying like what she was doing. And I'm like, you know what? If you would at least told me, I would have probably said yes or crafted it in a different way or something like that. But don't lie to me at the end of the day.
Like, yeah, I have. So with my team and people I train, they get these replies of people that are saying, hey, why are you actually doing this? Right. And they just freak out. And I'm like, you can be honest, you can just say, hey, I'm trying to increase our online visibility and this would help. You don't need to be it's a business thing, so they'll understand that. It's totally fine. But this whole sob story of a guy that's a student and trying to make some money, I don't like that at all.
No, I'm not a big fan of that.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I had another idea for the image stuff that you were talking about. If you know of a site that's getting a lot of image links, then you should I think you can, in Ahrefs, you can filter on file extension. So if you look at the backlinks and you say, I think you say external URL or internal URL and include .jpeg, you can see what's getting the most links. So
yeah, the image files and then also the PDFs, right? Because I'll see a lot of inbound links to PDF files as well.
That's another. I didn't think of that one. That's really good.
Yeah. On the content side, we'll do like PDF checklists, like how to clean your bathroom. Here are the 10 steps to cleaning your bathroom. And then like where you can actually check it off. The idea is that like someone might print it out one day, put it on their refrigerator and like actually use it or whatever, right? Wow. But I'll see those getting linked to all the time. Just like picking up natural links, which are like the best kind, because you don't have to do anything to do it. But yeah, I'll see this getting. But that is a good tip on Ahrefs for looking at your inbound links to images, because again, if people are linking to you naturally, that's always something that you can accelerate by investing time in it to push, right? So if you see that publishers are naturally picking up your images, maybe they're all going back to the furniture thing. Maybe there's a lot of chiropractors that are picking up that graph you did on how like sitting at your chair for more than 3 hours at a time ruins your back. So like perhaps like you're like, well, if I would take this image and make sure that the page that features the image is something that I can reach out to more chiropractors, because I've seen that 10 of these people have picked this up. What about the other 900 chiropractors out there? Let me go down that route. So it's just like building on top of the organic and natural wins that you've gotten already.
Yeah, there's a lot of links that are on the table already. So definitely look into that.
So I had a lot of questions coming in from B2B oriented sites.
Oh, right.
One is responsible for the content on a B2B SaaS startup where they don't feel that their field is very popular and they think it's harder to get links from a B2B perspective. Another question that came in: how do I build quality links in B2B marketing? And how can I track and get visibility of the link building and the possible traffic that it generates? This is a two-part question.
Yeah, I'm really confused.
Yeah. So first off,
Yeah.
is there such thing as a boring vertical to build links in? 'Cause I hear this a lot.
So it's boring if you're not in it, but if you're in it, then you might, if you're not an accountant, you might find accountancy boring, but accountants don't find accountancy boring most of the time. So you gotta put yourself in the brain of an accountant and start just looking into like I said before, like what their pain points are, what the trends are, what maybe there are big scandals or big statistics or whatever that you can use for your own content or for your outreach. About the guy, because I do remember one part of the question though. You said something like a small they didn't have a lot of number to reach out to or something.
Yeah, the B2B
Yeah.
SaaS. There's hardly any blogs or sites in their space.
Yeah. I had
Really
this,
low search volume, et cetera, et
yeah.
cetera.
So you have to start think. Is it when people say thinking laterally, where you start seeing more connections between things?
Maybe.
Well, yeah, I had this with a client that was into non-destructive testing, which is very, very niche. It's about the way you test a certain matter, like concrete or something, in a way that doesn't actually damage the concrete. And in the beginning, we thought like we can't find sites that rank on that because it's just so niche. But then we looked at all the applications of it and all the use cases and all the different businesses that were involved in that, and then it opened up a lot. So even if you're
Yeah.
in a boring or a small B2B niche, you're sharing some sort of space with other businesses, or just 1-2 steps further, you will find a lot of prospects. So I would love to know
Yeah.
if it was, because
Yeah, it's interesting. Like if anyone that's watching right now is in a boring niche, that they're having a boring type of business, they're having a hard time building links to, drop that here in the comments because I'd like to
yeah,
learn a little bit. Like the accountant thing too. Like it's easy also when you're on the inside to think that you're in a boring niche, right? You're like, oh, no one wants to write about accountants. Like you go to dinner and everybody's complaining about paying taxes, right?
yes,
So like it's not boring because it resonates with everyone.
yeah, it's just
Oh, I paid this
stressful.
much. Oh, why do I have to pay this on top of everything else?
Yeah.
Why is gas so high? It's an ongoing thing. So
Yeah, and
sometimes you just have to think
then you
outside of the box a little bit.
yeah, and you publish a survey around, this is the write-off that nobody uses. Everybody's gonna
Hmm.
link to that, right? So then you make it sexy.
Yeah, exactly. Or to surveying in general, like, you know, I don't know. Do you think that you pay too much taxes for gas, or do you think that your taxes are being utilized properly for
Yeah,
building roads or whatever? And then everyone's going to say no, and then you have something to talk about and write
yeah,
about and to
definitely.
pitch, right? So it does work at the end of the day. I had a client years ago. They did like plastics fabrication, so they made molds, and they thought they were the
Oh,
most boring thing
no.
ever. And it's like, no, 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 no. First of all, if your business is there and it's established, you may not have a lot of clients, but you have the right clients,
Yeah,
right? So the answer to growing your business is not to go after the search terms that have like 20,000 monthly search volume, 100,000 monthly search volume, because it might not just be there anyway, right? You have to go after the people that are doing those queries and searches that are going to buy your service or product at the end of the day. What are they searching for? How many is there? There might be 10. There might be only 10 or 100 people in say the US, for example, that you want to get your business in front of.
yeah,
What are they searching for? What are they reading? Like who cares about the others that go to your site that bounce, right? Just want to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. And then if you think of it that way, if you can identify those terms, usually from PPC, because you can get that data pretty instantly,
yeah,
you can say, well, this is exactly what I want to go after. Anything else spillover or bonus, let's utilize this as our strategy. You may find the business is boring, and you may find you reach a very small threshold of individuals, but those are important individuals. And if you only just get one, or two that came over from search, you can change the trajectory of your client's business forever, right? So
Yeah.
just little ways to kind of rethink things, because I think sometimes we're wired to think of everything as being a problem when it's actually a hidden solution. Let's see. Let me just do one more question. A lot of them are very, very similar.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of questions about metrics and stuff like that. But here's a question. So digital PR, what's the
Yeah.
difference between link building and digital PR at the end of the day?
So I don't have a marketing background. I didn't study for it, so I don't know what the official definition is of digital PR and
Mhm.
link building, or what the difference is between them. Um, and I do think there's a gray area where they touch each other. So, but I always see digital PR as in getting really wide coverage through journalists and media, and link building can include that, but it's also so much more and very much topic based. So you don't look at a journalist necessarily to get into a big newspaper, but you look at a little community around a specific topic and everybody that's involved in that community. But yeah,
I like
I don't
it.
know the real definitions of them.
Hey, do you ever pitch? Do you ever pitch executives on LinkedIn as opposed to sending emails?
No, I think it would be a really good way to do it, but I like to systemize things in a way. So what works for me now, and it's in a system, I'm fine with it. But maybe I could look into it and then train somebody up to do that for me. But yeah,
Mhm.
I don't want to. I don't know. I
See,
really
everyone
like.
always thinks of LinkedIn as being like spam central, but
Oh
I get
yeah,
so many people like in C-suite with like just forwarding requests left and right. Like it does cut through. Like you might not think it, but it cuts through the noise so
maybe I should
much.
try
Like
it. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What are some of the best? What's the best link you've ever built from an
Oh,
outreach standpoint?
I think the best link. Oh, I built a really nice link recently on a big financial authority site. And I didn't do it. My team did it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we want a link there." And they didn't even realize how big of a deal it was. And I was like, "Whoa, we want a link there." So actually can't say what site it was, but it was,
Mhm.
and it went to a product page, and it was a free link. So that was
Oh
really great.
wow.
Another link that's I like, but not because it's a beautiful link, but just because of the irony of it, was on a Psychology Today, and it was an article, and it linked out to a burial insurance client, and
Hmm.
it was about taking care of your elderly parents. So I just liked the irony because it was talking about these elderly parents, but it was linking out to burial insurance. So yeah,
Way
a
to
little,
prepare.
yeah.
Way to prepare. And yeah, it's funny. So can quality link building be automated? I noticed on your website. What does it say here?
Oh my god, my website.
Natural link building by humans, not automation. So can
Well, it's
link
actually a
building be
lie because
automated?
I do include some automation because I use
Mhm.
Pitchbox. Um, and I use Pitchbox because I'm a chaotic mess, and I was losing oversight, because I had so many clients. I was still back then I was a small team. I only had like 3 or 4 people working for me, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I tried some other tools, and they didn't work for me. They didn't the way they were structured didn't fit my brain, but Pitchbox did. So I do automate with Pitchbox. I automate the outreach emails and the follow-ups,
Mhm.
but the human aspect is very strong still as well. We think about the prospects, what they're interested in, and we care
Do you
about
stalk them? Do you stalk the prospects?
a
Like
little bit.
like,
What do you mean?
hey, I saw that your doggy was in the vets the
Oh
other
no,
day.
no, no, that's
No,
too creepy.
it
No, no,
is creepy.
no.
I get those pictures sometimes too.
I don't do that. Here's what people think, that building a relationship with somebody, and which is cool, but that it means that you have to get social. You don't have Building a relationship can be pure business like, or can be
Mhm.
about content or about something else. You don't need to say somebody, hey, congratulations on your wedding. I mean, it's okay, and I believe it works, but it's just not something I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like people have crossed the line when they start bringing up things that they saw on like social media or whatever.
Yeah, I don't do that until somebody
Weird.
themselves starts talking
Yeah.
about it.
um, so we talked a little bit about like metrics, like domain
Yeah.
authority and stuff like that earlier on. Do you consider those metrics when you're pre-qualifying prospects or sites? How important are they in your, I guess, internal formula of identifying sites to reach out to?
Yeah. So when we prospect, Pitchbox scrapes a lot of prospects based on keywords or other aspects. And then the first thing we do is an eyeball test. So we don't even look at any metrics at all. And um, and then when they come back in the inbox, when people reply, that's when we look a little bit closer at the site. But we don't look at DR that much, but we do look at traffic indication and the
Yeah.
traffic flow and the backlinks and the outgoing links. I know some people look at more stuff, but that would just take too much time. And sometimes when you get really big lists, we do use DR to filter out some of it. It's just
Mhm.
to make things easier, but it's
Right.
not something I'm completely hung up on. Although it does give my ego a boost, when you get a DR90 link, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just gives you some kind of kick.
Yeah, I
But
think I look at like trust flow, majestic trust flow a bit.
oh yeah,
Um, and then DR, DA. DA is only really like when someone's specifically asking for it. Like,
yeah,
and I know it's important internally at the company because they've communicated that up sometimes. Hey, we're building up our domain authority. Like, I feel uncomfortable, obviously, putting the success of a campaign under a metric built by a tool that's been bought and sold a couple times over the past 3 years 4 years. So
yeah,
that's always kind of iffy, but I like the eyeball test. And to your point, I really like looking, like what I'll do is look at the search rankings of the site, and I'll
yeah,
see like so going back to the client I was talking about that did like class notes, right? So if they were doing like homework help, we're trying to get links to their homework help landing section, right? So I'll get a list of like different education sites, parenting sites, stuff like that, and then like see where they rank. And if they're ranking already for like terms that are very relevant to what we're going after,
yeah,
that's when I'll like pitch them, hey, let's can we contribute this post? And the post or the page, the content will be specifically about this. Or, would you like to write a resource about this? Because then my thought process is, if that third party site already ranks for something and they're in the top 10 for that
yeah,
subject matter, maybe I can, one, get the link, which is really great from a ranking like Google perspective, but two, I can get that link that's going to have legs and it's going to live on its own and drive
yeah,
traffic to the client after a
yeah.
long time as well.
Yeah, so that's the other part is where I talked about the prospecting angles. And one of the prospecting angles is to look at the people that are in the same customer journey or related businesses. But the third one that we always do is based on keywords. So we
Mhm.
look for when I use Pitchbox, I just put it into the fields. I put in 20 keywords, and then all these sites come up that are already ranking on those keywords.
Oh, that sounds
But
useful.
yeah, however, I do think sometimes I should look again at the sites and see if there are any other keywords that I could add maybe. Because we prospect again and then we add more keywords, but sometimes I think I might be missing out on some keywords as well.
Maybe,
Yeah.
possibly. So we've had the chance today to go over link metrics, forms of linking, forms of pitching, writers versus automation, tips like not lying to people, not trying to trick them, things that you typically shouldn't do. Any other tips before we sign off? Because I just looked, we've been talking for over an hour already, which I'm
Oh
pretty
wow.
blown away about. Yeah.
That's why my voice is getting raspy. You hear it?
Is
Like
it?
uh, well, it's kind of I like it. Um so if I have another tip, yeah, I think um use writers, but also just try something differently. Don't be afraid. Just try it consistently, and you'll discover a way that really works for you. I know it's very kumbaya and stuff, but so many people are so scared to send something out, or they're so insecure. But you should just try it.
And consistency, right? It may not work the first time,
Oh my god, yeah, it's the only way you
but
can learn.
yeah,
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 and
exactly.
also people say, "Oh, I reached out to 20 sites and nobody responded and it didn't work." 20? No, reach out to more, and then from the 5 that do respond, you will learn a lot. So yeah, you have to keep going at it.
This may be my imagination, but I feel like I get better responses from sites that have contact forms than I do sometimes from like
Oh
emails.
yes, this was actually something I wanted to mention when you asked me about the email addresses,
Hmm.
right? So my team always says, "Oh, they only have a contact form." And I said, "Yes, you should reach out to them."
Only.
No, sometimes they don't have email addresses, right? Some
Hmm.
sites they don't post their email addresses. You can't find who to contact. Only a contact form. But the funny thing is, nobody else is doing it because they're too lazy to fill in a contact form. So go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Because they're just used to utilizing automated tools to send mass
Yeah,
emails, right?
do the
Yeah,
contact
I
form.
get sometimes with contact forms, especially with link reclamation, like unlinked mentions, maybe like a URL change or post
Right,
site migration. Contact form, there's something about it. Maybe it's because they're utilizing CAPTCHA typically or something like that, right? That cuts out the spam as opposed to
right.
an email where it's just like a lot going into an inbox at once. But
Yeah.
typically, like that will be if it's a like a URL change request, it'll be escalated through like their help department. I'll get
Yes.
back responses. Sometimes I'll get responses back from people really high up at the company or the publication. So I think it's
There's
really
somebody at the,
overlooked.
yeah, I think there's somebody at the end of the contact form that has to escalate it to somewhere, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to an email like, what's this? Swipe, delete.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Someone's job is to escalate that. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So don't spam contact forms by any means, but never think of a contact form as being like only a contact form. No,
We
no, no,
ruined
no,
it
no.
now. We ruined it.
Yeah,
Marcus has
yeah.
ruined
Everyone's gonna
everything.
be taking them down, taking them down. But yeah, that's where I get my best responses. So we're at the end of our show. I
Yeah.
dropped some links to your Twitter, your site, things like that, where people can find you online. I also understand that you're a big fan of trivia and
Oh
playing the
no.
ukulele. Is that
Uh, yeah. Trivia, not
yeah?
so much.
Not so much.
I'm really bad at trivia.
What else? What else do you do? What other hobbies do you have?
Oh, I teach theater stunt fighting to kids and adults.
Really?
So yeah, I go to anime cons and comic cons, and there we teach people, how to die or how to kill someone fake.
Yes.
So I have
Stunt
a
fighting.
yeah, stunt fighting. I have a lot of weapons in my house.
Hmm.
What else? Yeah, I like singing. I like the ukulele. Um, oh, and I like weightlifting. And
Do you
yeah,
find that
that's
any of those hobbies have helped you with your link building career?
no.
You try to differentiate everything.
No, I don't I don't think
I can see
sword fight
cosplay helping. I can see cosplay helping, right? The ability to get
uh,
into someone else's head,
yeah, maybe.
perhaps. Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. No, I
Well,
don't think so.
well, it's been a pleasure
Yeah,
having you
that's nice.
today here on the SEJ show or
Yeah,
tonight. Thank you so much for staying up
yeah.
so late on a Friday of all evenings.
I
We'll
could have
rethink
gone
that.
to the club.
You know, we've been having a lot of guests on from the UK and from
Yeah.
Europe and stuff like that. And I feel so bad for people, but it's just funny because like usually it is like right before happy hour in
Yes,
London or whatever.
it's not happening here. No.
Yeah. So I feel bad. So anyway, I
Um,
hope you have a really nice weekend. How's
yeah.
everything in Amsterdam right now?
It's well, a lot of things are open, but not the clubs but you can go for drinks and stuff. That's and to museums.
Oh, that's
It's just
nice.
that yeah, I don't have a social life, so that's why I'm still here with you. and the other people.
This is a social life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is the highlight of my week.
Awesome.
It
Well, I'm
actually
happy to
is.
hear that. Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to connect, Bibi. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into our show today. And to all listeners, don't forget, if you're on YouTube, to like us, subscribe, and then hit that bell so you're notified in the future when new videos are produced or when we go live. Bibi, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again. Thanks to the team at Ahrefs for sponsoring today's show. And I'm going to let you get to sleep on at 10 p.m. on a Friday night, or watch some movies or something.
Yeah, I'm
Get
gonna
back to
watch
normal.
a zombie movie. I feel like.
Which one?
Don't know yet. Do you have any recommendations?
I do. Well, it's not a movie, but it's called Black Summer on Netflix, and I think it's part of like the Z Nation universe or something like that. I haven't been into any of this stuff, but it's like everything that I expected Walking Dead to be. like
actual action,
not like sociological experiments between this group and that group. Walking Dead's just turned into the most horrible show ever.
There was season 3 of Walking Dead, because I did watch a couple first seasons, and the whole season was about this one lady going back and forth between 3 locations.
Yeah. And then there was 2 seasons of them preparing to fight Negan or something like that for a while. It's like, what? Just
and the whole
season fast forward button.
Who died? The whole season wondering who died.
Yeah. So Black Summer, it's kind of like it's like, what is it? Black Mirror. If Black Mirror did like a zombie show, it'd be like that. It's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Pretty cool. And then another really good one while I'm on it is Kingdom. It's a Korean zombie miniseries, and it's also a period piece. It's like set in the 1500s, and talk about crazy zombie stuff, and just also like really, really cool like visuals and stuff like that at the end of the day.
Nice. My night is just,
You're set.
I'm set. I'm not gonna do it.
You're set. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much, Bibi, for joining us today, and to Hilda the chicken for chiming in as well. It's been a pleasure. If we have any follow-up questions, we'll send them over to you, and I'm looking forward to touching base again in the future as well.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Search Engine Journal Show. If you liked this episode, subscribe to our channel for so much more and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing.